Today we're going to talk about living in France.
Yes, the reasons why you come to France. It might be the weather, it might be the politics of the country you're leaving behind.
Indeed, for us, we came just before Brexit. It was a lot of politics, as you will know, and it was very important to us to make the move then because things were going to change quite differently at that time for us, financially as well. Today, um, you would now have to just get a visa. There's various visas available, and the UK is now treated just like America and Australia, people wanting to move here. So you have to apply for a visa, you have to prove your financial situation, and then you're granted a 1 year visa, which then becomes extendable every year until you qualify for a 5 or a 10 year visa. Thank goodness for us coming before Brexit, we automatically would qualify for living in France. Um, and we were able to apply for a visa and we were granted a 5 year one straight away.
That's right, which is very lucky for us. You might want to come here for the weather. France is a big country, and the weather down south is a lot warmer than the weather north of the Loire Valley. Or you might like a bit of snow.
Yeah, you can get, the snow areas of the Pyrenees or over to the east of France, Strasbourg area, and along there you've got Alps as well bordering. So you've got quite a diverse range.
Absolutely, yes. And France is a huge country, and also in France, we feel you get a lot more for your money, property and land wise, than we were getting in Great Britain.
Yeah, the equivalent of a small terraced house in the UK, you can get a large house with a lot of land in France. That's not always a good thing to have too much land. You've
No,
got to decide how much gardening you like. You may want to come for a better lifestyle. You may want to escape, for instance, the rat race in your own country, where it's just work, work, work constantly, and you've got no work lifestyle balance. In France, you can find that really easily. You could either set up a new business here, you could work from home. There are so many opportunities for people here. Again, you would need to make sure you've got the right visa in place for working here. You could retire and not do any work. Um, but the lifestyle here gives you the opportunity to chill, to take it easy. Everything is more relaxed. The pace of life is more relaxed. People here, they do value their lifestyle, their home time. Everything is very much emphasised about the relaxed way of life and enjoying family life.
that's right. Yeah, you feel with the French people here, they work to live rather than live to work, and they have a different attitude to what we used to.
Yeah, and that's surprising actually. Quite often you'll find that they, for instance, don't want to work many hours. They will actually shut far more often than you think they would in order to make sure they stick to having uh, proper time off. So it is different, and sometimes that takes a little bit of getting used to. But on the whole, it makes for a much easier, calmer way of life.
The next thing is how to find your new home, of course, and do you use international estate agents or local regional estate agents? Obviously, if you're using the international ones, the fees tend to be higher than the local regional immobiliers.
Also, in France, it is the buyer who pays the agent's fees. And unlike in the UK, the seller pays the estate agent's fees. In France, it's the buyer mostly pays the agent's fees. So that is something you need to factor in, except that when you buy in the house, that's already added into the price of the house. Um, but yes, the agent's fees are paid by the buyer. Another thing is that no one website actually advertises all the properties in France. Um, again, we're speaking from a UK point of view. You do have the main one. We consider the main one to be Rightmove. There is also Zoopla and Prime Location. They all tend to have all the properties on there, unlike in France. But generally speaking, it's through their own website that you will find properties. So, for instance, in one area that you might decide to look at, you need to look at what agents are in that area and look at their own websites to find them. General searches can get you there as well, and keep looking at other sites. There's Green Acres, there's Saloje, there's numerous ones, but there's not one site, is what we're trying to say here. So yeah, it often means it's not as easy to find the right house that you're looking for.
So before visiting, you want to check each of the regions and decide whether you want a townhouse, a country house, whether you want to be inland, whether you want to be on the coast even.
Yeah, north, south, east, west. Look up not just the geography and the weather, but look up whether you need public transport, for instance. How close do you need to be to an airport? All those things. And you can use Google Earth to have a look at what things look like easily from the air. There are so many different apps these days. YouTube channels where you can actually Google the places. There are drones. You can get drone footage of places. So do as much research online, basically,
before you arrive. Exactly, yeah. When you do arrive, come into France, it sounds silly, but make sure you've got the finances in place.
Because otherwise, if you're coming from afar, as some people are, they could be travelling like halfway across the world. What is the point of, putting in place such a huge visit if you say haven't sold your house somewhere, or if you haven't checked if you can get a mortgage?
Or actually having finances in the bank so that you can proceed should you find a place that you love.
And the reason is because if you did find a place and you haven't sorted that out and you thought, oh, I'll put in an offer and dependent on my sale in my country, a notaire won't entertain it. Even if the buyer said, oh yes, I'll accept it, which is unlikely, but even if they said they would, you can't proceed with a notaire. A notaire can't carry out his job unless you've got funds in place to buy the property. So generally you are wasting, your time, the estate agent's time, the home seller's time. So it's really important that if you see the property, that you're able to make a decision. I mean, if you just want to come and look around the area and you think, I don't know enough from just looking online, by all means come and do that. But don't go actually lining up viewings for houses to look at. Drive around the area and look at them outside and get a feel for them, and you can still look them up online. You can still find them online and find the information, but don't actually go and see them. Again, for the same reasons, really. You can't proceed. You just can't proceed if you haven't got those finances.
So when to visit? If you come in the low season, when things are a lot quieter, you might find certain services and shops are actually closed. Conversely, if you come in the middle of summer, you might find the places you thought you liked overrun with tourists. So it's a fine balancing act.
So you just need to work out for yourself whether to actually visit in the quiet season, in the low season, or in the high season. Whichever you think you're going to dislike the most is the one that you want to visit in, because then, if you like it in that season, you're going to then like it even more in the opposite season. So work out which is your preference. How much are you going to pay for the property? Well, the cost of buying, it includes the actual agent's fees in the actual advertised price of the property, which averages 4 to 6% for an agent's fee. The fee is payable unless, of course, you have gone through a private sale. If you've come across somebody that's selling their house privately, then obviously you won't pay agent's fees.
On top of the house and agent fees, you have to pay the notaire's fees, which generally run from 7 to 10% of the actual house price. obviously not including the agent's fees.
So the taxe foncière is the other thing you'll have to pay for. It represents the equivalent of the council tax. You will pay that as a yearly amount, and then later you will get it refunded, or rather a portion of it refunded, for the time that you weren't living there. So say you move in and you only live there 8 months out of 12 months of the year, you will get 4 months refunded back to you afterwards.
So when we came to France, what areas were we looking at? Initially we went down south to Lot-et-Garonne. We decided that was too far south to get back to the port in one day. So then we went up to the Creuse, which is in the centre of the country, but we decided that was too far inland. We wanted to be closer to the coast.
And too cold.
And too cold. So we came back to the Charente-Maritime.
When coming to the Charente-Maritime, we actually wanted rolling countryside still, which we didn't think we would get. We just thought it would be overrun with tourists, and that's far from the truth. There is plenty of rolling countryside all along the coast here. We're within half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour of so many destinations on the coast, and yet only an hour from Bordeaux airport. So we feel like we've got a really good balance here. Also, it's a microclimate along this area, so it's considered the second sunniest part of France, really. Definitely milder winters, warm summers experienced generally in the region of 40 degrees plus for a couple of months of the year, and our summers can start from as early as April through to the end of October. It's currently February. Last week was 20 degrees and it's sort of shorts and t-shirt weather already. It's not permanently yet every day, but gradually the temperatures are working their way up to the 20s, 16 to 20 degrees in February, which we think is brilliant.
What we didn't want was too much wet weather, too much rain, which you might get if you're in the north of the Loire Valley. Also, we don't want it too cold in the winters either, which we found when we were in the Creuse inland.
Yeah, we found that generally when we've been driving down the country, it's a noticeable divide along the Loire Valley, which as you've come south of the Loire Valley, the weather gets noticeably warmer. We've experienced snow, rain, fog, you name it, and then all of a sudden it seems to clear as you come through the Loire Valley, the other side, temperatures rise, etc. So that's why we wanted to be south of the Loire Valley. Nothing wrong with the north, as in it's a very pretty area, there's lots of nice places, but for us we wanted the warmer temperatures. And
Yes.
as you said, inland with the Creuse, we felt we were there in the winter time and it was bitterly. Now, it's all right if you want it to be that cold. Again, coming from the UK, we didn't want it to be that cold. We wanted to have slightly milder winters. Where we are in the Charente-Maritime, our winters are maybe 10 degrees in the daytime in winter. They maybe go down to 0 at night. Maybe on about 3 or 4 occasions we might wake up and there's a frost and it's gone to like -2 or -4 degrees. But generally speaking, it's a lot milder, and that's the reason why we chose this area, being mild because it was closer to the coast.
That's right, and it's not too touristy and not too many British folk, which we found when we went through the Dordogne.
Yeah, because the Dordogne is typically known as Dordogne because of the number of Brits there. It's not a bad thing. I mean, it's a beautiful area, but it depends. We wanted to be more in a smaller village setting, to just sort of mingle with the French even more so than you might in some of the areas. Again, what's right for us is not right for everyone else, but that's why we chose where we are. So we came back to the Charente-Maritime because we were so used to living on the coast in the UK that we felt this is where we ultimately wanted to be. Being able to get down to the seaside within a short journey, less than half an hour, it's the ideal location for us.
So I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And if you want to, please click like and subscribe. Thank you
Speak-
very much.
Speak soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye.